Mic check, 1, 2, 3. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Rodney Perry. Welcome to another episode of The Basement. This week, The Basement, St. Louis, Missouri. I'm out here this weekend playing the Laugh Lounge STL. There's a couple of people that I really, like as human beings in this comedy game. And one of them came by. We stopped by. We chopped it up. The young man has watermelons on his socks. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Basement, Mr. Willie Lynch Jr.
Praise the Lord, y'all. How y'all doing?
How you doing, man?
Man.
First of all, man, it's so much we can have a great chat about. First of all, you really turn yourself into a health guru in terms of helping not only myself but a ton of comedians and actors and anybody that cross your path with helping finding their way to like a perfect body, perfect health. What got you into that space, man?
Well, I remember when I was in college, my last year in graduate school, I was at Tennessee State for grad school, Fisk University for undergrad. Yeah, little baby.
HBCU.
But I was down there, man. I read this book called African Holistic Health by Dr. Lyle Africa. And I was noticing things, because I studied history in school.
Okay.
So one of the things that we looked into was nutrition. And it was saying how black men were dying at, alarming rates of colon and prostate cancer from eating meat and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm 27 at the time. I said, by the time I turn 30, I'm going to quit eating beef and pork because I didn't want to get the cancer. In 2009 came, this is when I first started doing stand-up, right before, like a month before I got back in the game for real. I remember eating some loaded nachos from Busch Stadium at the baseball game.
Okay.
It had beef and pork on it, and I got sick. And I said, I'm going to fast from beef and pork for a whole month. Now, I wasn't ready to give it up yet because I wasn't 30 yet.
Right.
And after about 2 weeks of fasting from it, man, I began to detest it, and I just hated it. And then, a little bit long, a couple years ago, my aunt died of pancreatic cancer on her birthday. And that's when I say, you know what? Okay, I don't eat beef and pork no more. Now I'm going to try to give up meat, period. I'm going to try to do this vegan thing.
Right.
And then I started studying Dr. Sebi, of course.
Okay.
That's it.
Dr. Sebi is the benchmark to the way you teach. Am I right?
Yes, not so much teach, just the way I disseminate information, the type of information that I do disseminate.
You got a web group, a Facebook group called Heaven's Grocery Store.
Yeah.
You got a group of people that share recipes, everything from recipes to water. Before we even get into this interview, alkaline water, good or bad?
It's very bad.
Really? Why?
Okay, number one, because the water that's labeled alkaline in this country has chemicals in it, and this is what raises the pH. And just by virtue of having chemicals, it means it's no longer natural. So now you're putting heavy strain on the kidneys. This is when you develop kidney stones, or you can blow your kidneys out and have kidney failure.
Now, what about the Kangen machine that changes your water to alkaline water? That's bad too.
Like you only want you want spring water. This is what Dr. Sebi was talking about: spring water, natural spring water. So there are several brands on the market that you can drink.
But if it's in a plastic bottle, it's been.
All of them don't have. There are companies that have BPA-free bottles, and that means it doesn't have the toxic chemicals in it.
Right.
And then some of those same companies, you can get the water in the bottle, like a glass bottle.
Okay.
So yeah.
Right, but the stuff that's mass produced, I mean, if what you're saying is true, the people that's doing stuff to help you put it in glass bottles is also doing shit to kill you, putting it in plastic bottles, right?
No, because the ones, like I'm saying, there are BPA, like for example, like Fiji water that you have over there, that is BPA free. That bottle.
Okay.
So it won't, how, because there's a major thing going on with it. It's some type of chemical that causes a reaction, it gets into the water, especially once the plastic is heated.
Okay.
And those that's why a lot of companies have, moved away from those type of plastics and use one that's BPA free.
Okay. Well, enough of that. Willie Lynch Jr., not your given name. Why did you choose that name? I always wanted to ask you that.
Well, when I was in grad school, man, I was...
and I know you're a history major, so you know the history of Willie Lynch.
Yeah, it's the supposed history.
The supposed history.
Because Willie Lynch never existed.
Okay. So he was the idea more than anything.
Yeah, he was the protagonist, no, the antagonist. So he was just the villain in this fictitious novel. It wasn't even a novel. It was like just a little short. It was a letter. It was about this guy, but the guy who wrote it is actually a scholar, a black scholar who's living in Durham, North Carolina. His name is Dr. I want to say Kwame Abena Ashanti. He wrote it in 1970.
So he created Willie Lynch.
The story, yes. But if you really look at it, Willie Lynch is actually, it's like the personification of what racism is. Mm-hmm. You know, like, it wasn't a guy that said, hey, I found this trick, let me go share it with everybody. Because they said it was written in the year 1712. If you read the letter, nobody in 1712 talked like that.
Okay. That's
just like, reading or listening to a supposed, audio of Dr. King or Malcolm X talking, and it's supposed to be a hidden microphone in the room, and you hear them like, yeah, man, Dr. King is going to be lit tomorrow when we get to Memphis.
It don't make sense.
They didn't talk like that.
Right.
So, but I chose that name while working at Bellmead Plantation. I was giving tours. I was a docent, so I was dressed up like a damn butler, like a slave, and I would answer the door, and I would take people, through the house and teach them the history of the house. And my story was different. My tour was totally different. Now, one, because I was a natural stand-up, even though I really wasn't doing stand-up.
Right. You didn't know you were a stand-up yet.
No, I had done it already.
Okay.
Because my first time doing stand-up, I was 13.
Oh, wow.
But I was just for fears and being lazy. I just stopped. I never kept with it, whatever. Then eventually, of course, I got sick. But I was when I was at Bellmead, I read this letter, and I had heard about it when I first got to Fisk. But this is when I was reading all the so-called radical stuff, a lot of the conspiracy stuff. And once I kind of got better, I was healthier. When I got healthier, I stopped. I was like, I ain't interested in none of that. And so I ended up reading it, because I had really become a scholar. And I was taught to read everything, not about whether you agree with it or disagree with it,
right.
At least be familiar with the literature.
Exactly.
So I started reading everything, and I read the Willie Lynch letter, and it blew my mind. I was like baffled. I said, man, the stuff that they talked about in this letter is happening to us right now.
Right.
And I always said I believed it was my calling after so long for me to get a PhD and teach, African history, teach black folks who we are, just, I guess, make it funny. And then once I really decided, I was like, I really want to do comedy, but I'm not going to be scared this time because I'm real scared. There's a lot of opportunities that I've had, but I was scared, so I didn't do them, and comedy was one of them. I've been funny my whole life, and I've been trying to do stand-up literally since I was 13.
Wow.
But anyway, so when I read the letter, I was saying, I want to get my PhD. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then I was like, I really want to do comedy. I'm funny. I'm the funniest dude that everybody know. I was like, I got to do this. And then I was like, I'm going to choose this name because I'm going to bring awareness. I was like, because I'm different. Like at my tours, I end up getting fired from the job too, by the way.
Wait a minute.
They fired my black ass nigga.
Why?
Bruh. They made up an excuse, said that I parked in the wrong parking spot, and after they told me not to. But it
That'll fire you?
But a little bitty stuff. Like I was coming to work late and shit.
Okay.
But it wasn't.
There we go.
But everybody was.
Right.
Because we got there when it was time for our tour. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it really wasn't a real specific time.
You didn't have a desk.
Yeah. And I but my tours were good. But the thing was, my tours were so radical. Like I would be honest. And to answer this first question, to wrap the Willie Lynch thing up, I chose the name, and then, for several reasons, impact and all of that. And I actually felt my ancestors when I was like, I know you guys want me. I know I'm supposed to be a historian. I'm supposed to be like Dr. John Henry Clark or Dr. Chancellor Williams or Sheikh Anta Diop from Senegal. I know I'm supposed to be like those dudes. I was like, but I'm funny. But I know I can't do it unless you guys give me a blessing, unless y'all sanction what I'm doing. And I really felt like they were saying, as long as you tell our people who we are while you make them laugh, we'll bless you. And that's why I chose Willie Lynch.
Okay.
But to go back why I got fired, nigga. But yeah, they fired me. And because my tours were radical. I would be honest. Like I wouldn't, if you go on, the reason why I ended up getting that job is I went with my girlfriend at the time, and I noticed that they would jettison the whole topic of slavery. They never would bring it up.
Oh, wow.
Or they would refer to our people as the servants.
Right.
And then sometimes they would say the paid servants. Now, by a certain point, now the house, I want to say it was found 1804. Right. And then the big house was built could have been 1851, I want to say. Something like that. But the people still lived on, like the land stayed, and the families, the house and everything stayed in the family's name up to like the 1920s or so. So this long history.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, after a while, yes, it was no longer so-called slavery, but if you study American history, it was just slavery by another name. This was sharecropping in the South.
Exactly.
So I was just playing one day, and this white dude, he's an old white man, worked in the gift shop. I said, hey, man, y'all hiring? And then my girlfriend was like, "You stupid." And then he was like, "Well, actually, we are." And he gave me a what's the name, application. I filled it out, and I got hired. They was all excited about my being there, but they never had any black guys working as a docent or black women. And then so they thought everything was gonna be great. He was educated. He was getting his master's, getting ready to do the PhD program.
You was perfect,
man. But then them folk heard me talking, and see, I know how to talk. And I'm talking about to the point where if it's white folk who actually give a damn, who want to know some reality, and who ain't got no devil in them, ain't no evil motherfuckers. Those are the people who came to my tours. Like I noticed a lot of Canadians, a lot of Europeans, and some northern, northwestern, or sometimes northeastern, maybe even Midwest white folks will want to know. But a lot of times they didn't, like the people who from the South, they didn't want you to talk about slavery at all. And I would talk about it. And I would talk about the branding and all of those things, but I knew how to weave the information in, and then I would throw a crazy joke, crazy punchline in there to soften all that shit up.
Right. How do you soften slavery? You know what I mean? It is what it is, you know?
Well, the way you soften it, what I mean by in terms of my tour, the whole tour wasn't about slavery.
Okay. Let's not lose the conversation on that. I do want to get further into the name. Do people even know who Willie Lynch is, or what that idea is, as it relates to your name?
No, most especially like people in the industry, like the white folk, they ain't never like, hey, Willie, is that your real name? No white people, because they just don't know.
All right.
And a lot of black people do know, but then there are a lot that don't.
Right.
And it's
even if they know, they may not really know.
Yeah.
Right.
So I get people every now and then that think they're deep, and they be like, "Man, is that your real name, brother? Do you know who Willie Lynch was?" And since I'm a comedian, you just think I'm silly. You don't think I actually know this stuff.
Right.
And this is how I always end up getting into a debate with people on social media, because I actually study this. I'm a scholar, so I'm not going to give you no barbershop talk when I respond.
Right. Wow. I think it's really interesting. I remember becoming aware of you. My brother was telling me, man, this dude Willie Lynch, my brother Ryan Evans, he was like, man, this dude is doing smashing stages. And I remember like shooting you a shot over social media. I don't know if at Twitter at that time or whatever. And you didn't respond. You was like, I'm like, why didn't you didn't respond? I'm Rodney Perry, And I don't know. I think maybe, I don't know what had happened, but I think you did something like noteworthy. Mm-hmm. And I just congratulations or whatever. And then you responded. And you was like, yo, hey, man, thanks, OG, or whatever. Da, da, da. And I think we've been kind of connected ever since, man. And you've had your share of ups and downs comedically. Just Saturday night, Atlanta, Georgia, JB Smooth, big show. Martin Lawrence hosting. It's called the Funny as Fuck Tour, Funny AF Tour.
Lit as fuck.
Is it lit? Is it lit?
Something like that, I don't know.
What Martin doing on something called lit?
You hear me?
Anyway, so Martin is hosting. Adele Gibbons is on the show. Mike Blackson is on the show. JB Smooth closed the show. So JB goes up and it ultimately bombs. So I want to talk about the bomb with you. We've been there. I've been there. I've been booed the fuck. For real. Like when I first moved to LA, I hadn't even moved yet. And I did a show at Fat Tuesday and got booed. I mean, I still have people come to me to this day that remember, I was there that night. But at the same time, I think it kind of builds character. Talk to me about your worst moment like that.
Well, I've gotten booed several times, but the worst one, the last one I had, the bad one, was I did the ski weekend, winter ski weekend.
Okay.
Up in Gatlinburg, Tennessee with K-Dub.
Right.
Man, everything is perfect, bro. Now, see, you knew me back when I was a little younger, and I was cocky as hell. I would be talking shit on social media. I talk shit in public. I would talk shit about comedy because and I shouldn't have been saying, but I was being dead ass honest. I knew I was funny to the motherfucker. Right. And I knew they was all right. They was funny, but I'm like, bro, I can make a nigga die. And you ain't got that ability. So I was a shit talker, you know what I'm saying? And bro, I remember, I'm walking around through the audience, it's packed. It's about 1,200 people in there, man. And K-Dub was hosting, he was killing. Food stamp went first. Fredo Davis.
I know Fredo.
He went up and he actually ripped. He did about 10. Then OD.
Actually ripped?
I'm talking, no, when I tell you the story, you be like, oh, I see. But so it wasn't the crowd really. Some part of it was, but he rips. Then, what's his name? Odell goes up and smashes.
Odell.
Then K-Dub brings me up. Now I'm all geeked up. I'm going through the crowd talking shit. I see one of my frat
You
brothers.
headlining?
Yeah.
You it.
And I'm a cap, you know what I'm saying? So I see one of my friends, I'm like, what up, noob? Yada, yada, yada. You know, told him where I was from and shit. And I was like, hey, I'm the headliner. I said, man, watch me destroy this motherfucker. That's exactly what I said to him.
Right.
Then it was this little girl who was a fan of mine from South Carolina, Columbia. She had just seen me maybe a couple.
At the comedy hour.
Yeah, and I was murdering the whole time. So she was like, oh my God, you were so funny. Yeah. I said, watch me go back and just tear this motherfucker up.
You already know.
Bro, I get up there. They laughed like the first maybe minute. Then I just started noticing I wasn't hearing shit. And my style was a little different then. It was totally different. Like now I sit down on stage. You know what I'm saying? I just talk. And I, go up and down in terms of like how my energy or whatever. Mm. But at this time, I'm kind of real energetic and shit. And like by my second, third joke, they wasn't laughing. So I'm like, looking at me, what the fuck? Because I'm cocky. And I'm like, bro, I know my shit gonna work.
Right.
Man, I get up, bro. I look and I hear dudes say, I heard somebody say, K-Dub. Meaning go get K-Dub.
Right.
Then another nigga said, Duval.
Oh,
They was some Jacksonville niggas. They was doing that shit the whole weekend. Man, so I'm like, nigga, I can jump. I'm from East St. Louis, G. I said, I can jump. So I'm finna kill this nigga. So I start going in on him. Crowd still ain't laugh. I'm like, what the fuck? So then this girl up front, she look at me and she just like pointing, she like start pointing to her ear. She was like, we can't hear shit you saying. I was like, no. Oh, wow. And so I said, all right, I'm gonna try to start this all over again. I said, DJ, start the music over there. Started over. And at this time, I'm rattled. Now, at this time, I'm a monster on stage, but I wasn't a seasoned comedian.
Right.
So I didn't know what to do. So I got the DJ to start over. I tried to go back into my set, but I was rushing, and I just had lost the crowd. Then they couldn't hear me.
It's throw timing. Once your timing is off, you fucked.
Man, they booed my bitch ass. K-Dub told me to come. He said, man, just come on down. And that's my dog, so I'm like, I know it ain't gonna be that bad. Bro, he didn't dog me. He could have, but he got me good. He kept playing with the DJ, and he kept walking like I was walking in slow motion, like picking up a piece of paper or something off the ground. I wanted to kill myself. It was just bad. So mind you, this a 4-day weekend. So
right.
This
it's first day.
This the second day.
Okay.
It's the first event. So by the time I went up now, everybody, because people still in line trying to get drinks, everybody drunk as shit now. So that's where a lot of this was coming from besides just the what's name. Now mind you, like you taught me some years ago, you said you bomb. To bomb means you've lost control of the room. Mm-hmm. That's what you told me. And that was before so even when I knew, I was like, yeah, I'm losing it. But nigga, it's the second day. Now, mind you, I'm over trying to flirt with the gals and shit. I'm like, man, I'm finna kill this motherfucker, yada, yada. Even Shorty played me as soon as I got off stage, nigga.
Hilarious.
He played me. Actually, he played me when we got to the fucking pool party. I'm gonna tell you about that. But, and I was finna beat him up that night. He don't know. I literally was finna drown that little motherfucker.
Don't drown him.
He told me, man, good set tonight, shot. I said, man, fuck you.
You know I do good.
Because I bombed so bad, bro. But I'm talking about, nigga, I had to hang out with them niggas for the rest of the fucking week.
Right.
Weekend. I'm talking about, nigga, I was like, my mind say, go home, go to the hotel, and just go to sleep. Sleep the first night off, nigga.
Right.
But my ego think, nigga, fuck that, nigga, man up, nigga, go to the pool party. I get on the bus. I hear somebody say, hey, y'all, shit, I go to comedian. And no matter what I said to the niggas, it wasn't gonna be funny. Then I get off and I go inside the party, I'm standing in line, niggas nudging each other like that's him right there. I was like, man, fuck all y'all.
Right.
Nigga, that was the worst. And then I was so cocky, to wrap it up, I was so cocky that people that didn't like me, they was so happy.
They got so much power. They got power.
Everybody was calling each other. Hey, man, you heard what happened to Willie, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And ever since I got booed, everybody get booed every year now, so.
I mean, this the crazy part about now versus then. That was only a few years ago. The internet. Just imagine if that happened now, it would have been video of it. It would have been everywhere while you was doing it live. It would have been live. Yeah. So that's the crazy thing about like what happened to JB. And speaking of Shorty, man, I mean, it's interesting, and I definitely want to get Shorty on the cast down in the basement. But this is the crazy thing. I saw Shorty Comic View. And in his defense, before I tell the story, it wasn't his fault. Because that year on Comic View, and it was the year before Katrina happened. So Katrina happened, we was in Comic View like 10 days before Katrina, right? So we doing Comic View in New Orleans. Cheryl Underwood is the host. So I'm the warm-up guy. So I'm there. I get there with production before we start shooting everything. So the day I get there, Cheryl is on stage. They working. At that time, reality had just began to kind of hit, and they were trying to inject reality. BET wanted reality kind of in Comic View. So they had a couple of things they was doing. Like after you would do your set, you would stand there and watch Cheryl say whatever she was going to say about you. Some people she said good stuff. Some people she said bad stuff. She would clown. And so it was crazy because of this. Cheryl wouldn't clown everybody unilaterally. She would only clown people that she didn't know. So if she knew you, even if you had a bad set, she wasn't going to go in on you. So I'd say this. The season was weird. I get there. Cheryl is working on, they going to do a bit during the show. Every show they're going to go, if a comic is bad, they're going to have the audience go on with your whack-ass jokes. Right? She was going to prompt the audience to say that. And I got down like, hey, Rodney, how you doing, baby? Everything good? Yeah, we're going to have a good season. You ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Hey, Rodney, did you see the thing we was working on? Yeah, I saw it, Cheryl. So, what you think? Cheryl, it's your season. You just make it your own. I walk away. About 30 minutes later, they still working on it. She come to me again. Rodney, for real. What you think? To go on with your whack-ass joke. What you think? I said, Cheryl, I mean, it's your season. Go on, make it your thing. Make it your, So after rehearsal, we go over to the hotel right across the street. We sitting there, we have some drinks. Rodney, sit down, we having drinks. Everybody said, what you drinking? We talking. She said, Rodney, for real, nigga. What you think of that shit? I said, Cheryl, you don't know these comics. Everybody come from different places around the country, different walks of life. They look nice, but they not nice. You do not want one of these comics, you tell them to go on with their whack-ass jokes, and the motherfucker hurt you or themselves. You don't want that. You don't want a nigga climb on top of this building and jump off because you done made the audience go on with your whack-ass joke. Yeah. I seen her, she was like a deer in the headlights. She was like, you know what, you're right. She went, unbeknownst to me, she went back to the producer and said she wasn't going to do that shit. Then they come to me. The producer's like, yo, Rodney, stay out of Cheryl's head. I'm like, I'm not in her head. I was like, she asked me 3 times before I said anything. So y'all need to watch what y'all producing her to do. So now we going. Season's going well. They still got the reality shit in. People looking at the camera, niggas crying almost because Cheryl going in on motherfuckers. And so if you ever seen that video with Flame Monroe, the transgender out of Chicago, he came out, or she, I don't know what you're supposed to say.
Fuck that.
She came out, went immediately at Cheryl. She didn't even do her set. She was like, look, Cheryl, I know she ain't talking about nobody up here looking like Wesley Snipes and all that. She went immediately because she had been seeing Cheryl going on people. So she was like defend herself from the jump, right? So Cheryl came out. That ended up being an epic moment. But that wasn't bad. That wasn't the moment that the season went crazy. So the whole time we there, they doing a contest in New Orleans for the comic to end up on the show. Mm-hmm. And so this one dude he had been killing. He was the guy, right? So a couple of things happened that day. I don't know if you remember Derek Ellis.
Yeah.
Derek Ellis, he's real, I got some at my mama's house. That's his thing. Real slow, methodical comedy. He go up, he have a good set for him. I mean, he didn't, on a scale of 1 to 10, it might have been a 7, not an 8, maybe a 7. When I tell you that he didn't get booed, they rolled out a gong from the back. I hadn't seen this shit all season. I didn't even know they had it. They rolled out a big-ass gong, and Cheryl gonged this nigga.
Damn.
This nigga backstage looking at the camera about to cry. I'm like, yo, this is fucked up. It's almost the last show of the season. So that happened. Now, the audience that saw that is there for like 3 more shows. So that happened for the audience. And then I want to say Shorty happened after that. So Shorty, he come out, man, the place in pandemonium. Ladies and gentlemen, come to the stage, Shorty. He gave, what my name is, Shorty. The shit like it's going to be great. I'm sitting backstage, me and David Arnold talking. We having a chat. All of a sudden, I hear boos. I get up, I go look out. Shorty is getting a full boo.
Dang.
You know, usually boos Bill. Nah. He had been out all of 45 seconds. He was getting boos from way at the top. The boos was coming from every direction. Boo! Niggas, the eyes was closed. Boo! They was letting them happen. But got to give him some love. He gathered himself. He like, you know what? Y'all right. Y'all right. I came at y'all the wrong way, New Orleans. Let me go on, reintroduce myself, and we gonna get this thing cracking. Y'all ready? He went back. Ladies and gentlemen, come to the stage. Shorty. What my name is? I'm like, oh shit, he done it. He done it. Shorty, what my name is? Shorty. Boo again. They let that motherfucker happen. Both feet in his ass. They gave Shorty the booing of all boos. So Cheryl come out. Cheryl be like, y'all can't be doing that. These professional comedians, y'all can't be doing that. I'm like, y'all kind of created the energy for that to happen.
Yeah.
Fast forward, the guy that won the contest, he get to go up. The kid, I don't remember his name. He go up. He have okay set. They about to gong him. They rolling out the gong to gong him. New Orleans was like, y'all not about to do that. That one ours. When I tell you the shit was about to be so crazy, they start booing Cheryl. Because they like, no, you're not going to boo that nigga. This is our dude. You will not be embarrassing him in this city right now. So now the shit is beyond the boo. It's something else. It's like these people are angry. It's a riot forming. They say, Cheryl, okay, it's crazy. We need you to go back out and calm them down. Cheryl like, I ain't going out there. They turn to me. I'm the warmer guy. Rodney, you got to go back out. I said, all right, fuck it. I go out there. The DJ, I can't remember that nigga name, but I looked at that nigga. I said, dog, you got to play something. Give me Step in the Name of Love. I Believe I Could Fly, something. And that nigga played some mellow shit. And I was like, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a good time. Them niggas slowly calm down. Music soothed the savage beats. Motherfuckers calmed down and left out of that theater. They was going to tear that shit up. And I say all that to say this. There's other factors to the boo. Yeah. There's the mood in the room. You know, like even with your story, it was probably some stuff beyond your control. You know, don't get me wrong. Now, I always believe there's stuff as a comedian, as a professional, you can do to kind of get rid of the boo, but there's also certain stuff you just can't control. The moment sometimes is beyond you. And so, so for Shorty to fuck with you, knowing what he been through, he needs to stop.
And it wasn't even cool. It was on some, like, because he was acting weird with me the whole time because he knew who I was, but he still was like, I'm Hollywood tonight, nigga. And so he kept talking to me, acting weird and shit, but he never would just straight up rap with me. And so right before I got ready to go up, because I'm headlining, you know, he gave me some love, like, man, do your thing, boy. Now, he had been trying to get on the show the whole time, and they wasn't letting him on. And so he respected me. He was like, all right, I know I've been acting funny, but, like, that's how I felt. He was like, all right, I know who you are. I know what you're finna go up there and do. And, nigga, then when I ate it, we went to the party, he said, she said, hey, man, good set tonight, boy. Motherfucker. Like, nigga. Boy, I wanted to kill that nigga.
All right, man. Willie Lynch Jr. It's your boy, Rodney Perry. We're in the basement. Well, we're not actually in the basement. I'm St. Louis, working at Laugh Lounge this weekend. Laugh Lounge, STL. Willie Lynch Jr., a fabulous comedian. How many years you been in the game, man?
9. This is year number 9.
It's year number 9. This is the year. This when stuff start moving in your direction. You ready?
Hey, man, I've been ready. Now I'm ready now. Yeah, I was.
Yeah. So you feel like you're more ready now than you've been. Are you any less cocky than you were then?
Oh, yes. Because I'm prepared now. Like, I knew when I messed up and why I messed up.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, now it's just a different ball game. Like, I rely on my funny, but I don't go out there just assuming this shit finna go well.
Right.
You know, and one of the things I do now, just by virtue of my sitting down, that changes everything. And I didn't realize it until much later. Like I did Salsa con Fuego in the Bronx.
Right.
And this was last January, and I did my thing.
Yeah, that's a room. That's my
Stapleton.
man Rob Stapleton room in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And it can go south. Like this is what I didn't realize. So I did that room, right? And people kept coming. Hey man, you ready? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing a comedy show. Like 3 people asked me that before I went up. Hey y'all, you ready? You ready? And I'm like, why these motherfuckers keep asking me, am I ready?
Like, what do I don't know? What I don't know?
What don't I know? And Rob wasn't there, and what I didn't do is I didn't police the night like I normally would have done, because I don't let a lot of people go before me in situations I ain't never been.
Yeah.
And this one dude went up, did like 30 minutes in front of me. Me and B Flat was co-headlining, so she had went up and did like 30. So it was just that night don't sustain that. You know, that night was it was almost too much comedy. So I did good, but I didn't do what I do, and I didn't like the set. But you know, at the end of the day, I was like, okay, well, I would come back here, but I wouldn't come back here, one, without Rob being there, and two, I wouldn't let all these motherfuckers go before me. You know, That was my lesson learned.
I did it a couple times, and I always did okay. But the last time I did an earthquake, and I smashed that motherfucker. And I sat down at the little homie Skeeter
Philly,
Carter.
yeah, Philly.
I had done
Skeet.
Yeah, Skeet. I had done Warm Daddies like the next day. And he was like giving me props, and like, you know, I appreciate it, but when he said, he's like, bro, I'm telling you, the nigga did all this shit while he was sitting down. This is Sauce con Fuego. And that's when I was like, yeah, nigga kind of getting,
right.
You know, like I remember watching this thing on YouTube a couple years ago before I moved to New York.
So what does being seated, how does that affect your show? I don't understand.
Well, for me, it just makes me calm. Like I'm just, and in the crowd already kind of look, they taken aback. Like why the fuck is this nigga sitting down?
Right.
So it does something to you, you know. Like it also can bring the room down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a delicate balance.
Yeah, you know, like if like, cause I've seen Ali do this shit. You know, Ali Sadiq, if the room be on fire, he'd go out there and he not only does he sit down, bring the room down, but the way he's acting.
Yeah, his voice, and then he used voice inflection and a lot of other tools. I had to sit down when I first got back from my stroke because I just couldn't keep my balance well enough to be moving around and doing a bunch of shit. Yeah. So what I learned about myself is I could still be funny in that space without a lot of extras. And so sitting down became a thing for me. I still prefer to stand, but it's something that I'm not afraid of, like I used to be. You know, but it's interesting that sitting down would affect, you know, how you do your thing.
Yeah, like sometimes, like I said, the first thing it does, it affects perception. But for me, like when I auditioned for Def Jam, 2016 in Brooklyn, I was on the showcase, and I didn't sit down. Now this is when I had been sitting down for a while, and I hadn't really gotten comfortable like this. I didn't sit down. Now I ripped, I ain't gonna lie, but I would have been more calm, and everything would hit on at every. You know, at the right moment. My timing would have been damn near flawless had I been sitting down, I believe. Because I almost kind of started rushing because I was standing up and I hadn't been used to that shit. So I think one of the reasons why I started sitting down is I remember reading or listening to something about something that Patrice O'Neal said. He said, man, like the best way to do comedy is like you sit in your own living room, you just being comfortable. And like, so when I sit down, it's like I'm sitting up there talking.
Wow. Hey, Willie Lynch Jr., man, you got a great career. You've been called St. Louis home, of course.
East St. Louis.
East St. Louis, Illinois.
Yeah.
East St. Louis, Illinois is home. St. Louis comedy roots. Also Chicago.
Yes.
Spent some time there. Also New York. How does geography affect comedy? Your opinion?
I guess you have to be a little bit more specific. When you say how does it affect it in terms of what?
So you've been in those cities, probably some best comedy cities in the world. So how does the city itself affect the people that come out of that city?
The biggest thing I can say is, like, you know, people say, what city got the best comedians? For the most part, I just say black people got the best comedians, African people got the best comedians.
Period.
So no matter where you are, like, we just are naturally gifted people. So whether we talking about the St. Louis area, or we talking about Kansas City, or we talking about Chicago, to me, what propels things or people that come from those places in terms of comedy is the infrastructure. It is the elders.
Okay.
You know, like a lot of our elders in St. Louis, like, Cedric, what's his name, Lavelle, Guy Torrey, Joe Torrey, like they don't really come back and they're not involved at all. Like, see, when I was in Chicago, like, that was my comedy home, and I could be in a room with Deion Cole, Lil Rel, George Wilborn, Damon Williams, Leon Rogers, and Corey Holcomb all in one night at the same time, and it was kind of a normal thing. So it was just like, they were like the big brothers, to an extent. Like, hey, y'all, do this shit better. Like they gave you something to look at and shoot for.
Interesting.
But, here it's just a different thing. In New York, it's different because when I played both, I did more urban than mainstream. But there, it's like the people, the comics are still, the big brothers are still there, unless they go on to that next level, like a Tracy Morgan.
Right. I always say about New York is really interesting because it's one of the few cities that comics run the comedy.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Like comics don't run. I mean, the comics kind of run Chicago, but not really, because it's still promoter and booker driven. You know what I mean? Atlanta is booker, promoter driven. So what does that mean? Like, if there's a room in New York that the comics decide we not playing, guess what? We not playing it. And they'll fight you if you go play the room that we said we wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Like, a boycott is real in New York when they said we're not playing XYZ place. And so I think that in itself creates that space. Let me ask you this. After having been in New York, did it make you stronger? Did New York City make you a stronger comic?
Yes, New York did, because I was on stage so much and the environments that I was being put in. Like, it wasn't, you'll be in a room full of all black people, but all of these niggas from Jamaica.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And so as a historian, I was able to get out of that shit, but at times I saw people get jammed up, and I even caught myself, like, potentially being jammed. Then playing a lot in Times Square. I played at a club, LOL Comedy Club. Like, a lot of the bigger comics.
Upstairs
Yeah. A lot of the bigger comics didn't really rock with it. They were at the Cellar, they did other clubs, and I wasn't in those clubs yet, And so I would be in Times Square, and I made it my gym. It was my home. I would sit on that stool, man. Sometimes I have 6, 7, 8 shows a night, and just constantly going. So it also makes your pace hella faster.
Right.
Then at the same time, for me, just by virtue of my being in Times Square, all of these tourists.
Yes.
Like, it was.
You got the world at your fingertips.
Yeah. So it was shit, bro. Like, I remember I ended up being able to play Canada. I played Edmonton and Alberta, and it was 99% white, and I was smoking that motherfucker. Now, when I was in Chicago, I really wasn't doing the mainstream scene. So I wasn't as good. But so New York, it prepared me in so many different ways.
Right. I mean, Chicago is interesting because I said this last night on stage. I grew up in Chicago. It was points in my youth. I didn't know there was white people in Chicago. I was on the south side of Chicago. I had never saw nobody white. I really didn't. I mean, like, not like you see white people sometimes. I didn't see no white people until, like, I was a teenager and would go to Ford City to the mall. And I was like, yo, it's white people in Chicago. I mean, I knew they was there because I watched the Cub games, and it would be all white people. I knew they was on the north side, but I knew they was nowhere near me. Yeah. It was like another world. And so let's talk about this before we get out of here, man. And you said something really interesting. Black comics are the funniest people. I always say this, and tell me what you think, that as a white comedian, our white counterparts could go their whole career and never have to make a room full of black people laugh. Mm-hmm. You, as a black comedian, are going to have to make a room full of white people laugh at some point. That's just par for the course. Is that true in your opinion? And do we have to go mainstream?
No, it's not true, because there are guys like Ricky Smiley, who primarily he's a millionaire and really no white fans really at all. He doesn't go anywhere where there's a room full of white folks, so I got to make these people laugh. Mm-hmm. And no, we don't have to cross over. And to me, sometimes it's better if we don't. I'm an educated black man who has a consciousness and who is in love with my people. And I'll speak my mind at all times. Like, I know when not to say certain shit, but I speak my mind. And so some places aren't fit for me. you know. And so I like to be free. I like to have a free space, you know. Like that's why, like to answer the other part of the question, you don't like you look at a guy like Corey Holcomb. He really has no white fans, but Corey's doing very well. You know, a lot of us goes back to slavery because everything goes back to slavery, whether we can pretend that it doesn't, but it does. You know, even to ask those questions, you know, or people even think, well, you're not doing as well because you ain't playing these white clubs. Like that's a part of the slave mentality,
right?
You know, like I'm not a Muslim.
Mr. Willie Lynch letter,
exactly.
Back at work.
But I worship the ground that Honorable Elijah Muhammad walked on, just for some basic reasons. You know, he expounded on the philosophy of Marcus Garvey, which he got from Booker T. Washington. Self-help, self-reliance, build your own, create your own. You know, so that's why I love jokes and notes. That's why I would cuss Jesse out if I had to, but nigga, I ain't gonna never let nothing happen to the Laugh Lounge.
Right.
You know, because I understand what it means to own your own.
Exactly.
And so in terms of with comedians, you know, it can be that way if you aspire to make a certain amount of money or you aspire to win an Emmy. Like, I don't give a fuck about an Emmy. That don't do shit for me.
Right.
Like, but to be able to work and then to when I leave this earth, somebody, at least one person in one conversation, just one time, they say, who the greatest comedians ever is? One person mentioned my name, then I done my job. That's all I give a fuck about.
Wow. Well said. I mean, that's on my bucket list. You know, people say, what you do this for right now? I was like, you know, when people start talking about the best that did it, and if I can be in that conversation, that's a good day. You know, and the dope part is that, you know, I've seen my contemporaries get into that space. I seen Cat Williams, I seen Kevin Hart. You was roommates with young Leonard Oots. I mess his name up all the time. He hates me because I call him Oots. But Leonard Oots, very talented young man. Leonard actually opened for me at the Virginia Beach Funny Bone, and he was like, yo, Rod, I'm thinking about moving, you know, LA or New York. I was like, dude, whatever you do, get the fuck out of here. Because you are never going to be shit as long as you stay in Virginia Beach. And unlike most people, he moved.
Yeah.
First of all, you being a fly on the wall, watching that thing happen for him, what was that like for you personally?
Well, just to backdrop, you know, I met him at Philly at Warm Daddies. I was playing Two Ray's Room. Okay. And, you know, he followed me on Twitter and stuff because he knew who I was. And then I ended up following him back. And, you know, I finally get to meet each other. We was chopping it up, and we got stuck in the room. Like, he didn't have nowhere to stay, so I'm like, hey, you know, young comics, usually when comics on the road, you ain't trying to let nobody stay with you because you trying to, you know, get some cooch.
Right.
So I'm like, nah, just stay in my room. You know, I'm talking about single comics, nigga, you married.
I don't know.
But so I ended up letting them stay with me. Then we got snowed in, so we stayed 2 days, and then we just talked comedy all night. And I kept saying, I'm gonna move to New York, bro. I'm gonna move to New York. And I talked him into going with me like months later, and he's like, all right, I'll go. And we went out there together, man, and we went out there and didn't have shit.
So is it safe to say if you didn't talk him into it, he wouldn't have went?
No, probably not.
Wow, interesting.
Because it was literally, I'm like, come on. So it was times where, man, we almost had nowhere to stay. And I like, one time we stayed, so I made my frat brother let him move in with me because that was always on my conscience. I was like, if something happened to this little motherfucker, it's my fault.
Right.
Because I convinced him. And I did it because part of it, I was scared to go by myself. Then again, I kind of wouldn't. But I was just like, I knew he loved comedy. And a lot of comics didn't. Like, that's why a lot of comics didn't like me at one point in time in my career, because I just love fucking comedy. And I gave it my all. So to know somebody else would do that shit, I was like, come on, let's go.
Wow, that's dope. So this guy, you talked him into it, y'all roommates in New York, and he started to bubble. Do that create a space? Are you jealous? I mean, do it feel like what the fuck? Or, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Or you just happy for your homie?
Well, the natural reaction, you know, first thing you happy.
Yeah.
Because that's how I was. Because, like, this is like baby brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, I won't let nobody fuck with him. I would make him quit eating shit. I would cuss him out to just keep him alive.
Right.
You know, and we slept in one bed. You know what I'm saying, nigga? Not even, this was less than a full-size bed.
Y'all touching each other.
Yeah, 8 months, nigga. And so when it happened, I was happy because I'm like, this little brother, number one. Number two, I got to be even more cocky because it's like, okay, I'm Pat Riley. I won my rings with the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? But, nigga, I created these championships in Miami. You know what I'm saying? I was behind that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he was always funny. He just didn't know how to let that shit out. And that's where I came in. I was joning nigga, and the nigga started loosening the fuck up. And one thing we were joning, because, you know, when you young, you know, he looked up to me, you know what I'm saying? So he didn't even know how to join me right. One day this nigga told me, he said, bro, your nose look like you can take it off and plug it up and charge it in the wall. And ever since that day, in my opinion, that nigga comedy got funnier and funnier.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Because he was able to be the black guy now. Be who you are, be black now.
Right.
In front of whoever you're in front of. And then he started doing the urban rooms and got good at them. And so to watch him pop, I was happy as shit. But then at the same time, your ego be like, man, when the fuck is this shit gonna happen for me? It ain't I don't want you to get it, but when's it gonna happen for me? And the only reason why that really started to fuck with me at one point in time is because all of my gigs started getting canceled. Because, Rodney, remember, I'm a different...
That's pressure.
Yeah, and I'm a different type of dude. Like, you know, for me, I'm into, like, history and all types of shit like that. Yeah, I want to make it as a comedian. I know how fucking funny I am. But, like, comedy ain't, like, this a bust for me. And so, like, you know, as long as I'm working, I'm good. But all my shit started getting canceled. And I'm sitting there, and I'm listening to this nigga on the phone. He like, man, dog, they want me. Nigga, that was Tracy Morgan. I'm like, man, fuck all this good-ass news. Nigga, I want to kill myself. But the fucked up thing is in New York, because of the nature of that beast, people want to get on so bad. One of the things that was starting to happen was people was assuming I was jealous, and I wasn't. And I'm at the crib with the nigga like Meat. I used to call him Meat. I was like, bro, I think you gonna get it. I remember one time telling this nigga before any of this shit happened, because I remember when he popped. It was March 12th, nigga, at Gotham Comedy Club. You know what I'm saying? That's because we got on television. We had been working on this shit forever. And I remember like January, nigga, we was going through some shit, and I said, you gonna be a star, yada, 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 nigga. About 3 days later, in the middle of the night, he said, hey, Will. I said, what, nigga? He said, bro, you think I'm gonna be a star for real? I was like, fuck yeah. And I was like getting in his head, telling him, bro, niggas can't fuck with you, because he was already funny. Then I started teaching the nigga how to do comedy. And once he kind of took some shit from me in terms of how he would say certain words and the wordplay and shit, like, because I'm a grammarian, so I look at comedy different even from a written standpoint.
Right.
That nigga started getting cold than a motherfucker.
Wow.
You know, but it was niggas that was like, man, Willie, I heard Willie. Nigga, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Bro, I'm in New York. A comedy, nigga, but I'm in fucking Harlem, nigga. I just met Elijah Muhammad's fucking grandson. You think I give a fuck about it?
Right. What's the state of y'all relationship now? Y'all still cool?
Well, we ain't rapped in a while, man. You know shit happens. Like, again, you know, in the industry where you listen to motherfuckers all the time.
Right.
Hey, man, then I don't do that. I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't do people bad.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, if somebody would say something negative about you, I'd be like, nah, because I know your character. Now, I might make somebody pissed off. I might cuss you out or say whatever, but in terms of talking about you behind your back and shitting on you or stealing from you or envious, you know. But it is what it is. I'm just focused now, like LeVar, my frat brother LeVar walk out, said, nigga, just focus on you. And so that's what they're doing now, and stuff is starting to happen. I've been home taking care of my mother. Like, I had to leave New York, you know, so I'm home taking care of my mom. And this is the first time I can say in my life that I've served God, bro.
Wow.
And what I mean by serving God is taking care of my mama every single day, because that is God for me, because that's who I came out of. I don't know about nobody else.
That's awesome, man. I get that wholeheartedly. Lost my mom back in December, man. Your birthday is yesterday.
April 14th, same day Lincoln got shot.
I had no idea. How old?
I just turned 36, man.
36 years old. Okay, so what is the next 4 years for you, you know, as we close out?
The next 4 years, man, I should be married, because I have a baby and a beautiful sister that I had the baby by. She's gorgeous.
All right.
She has some more kids. I should have been pumped out several comedy albums, because I have one out right now. It was an EP, not an LP, but it's on iTunes.
Okay.
So I'm actually gonna work on it.
You produced it yourself?
No, did it at the Atlanta Comedy Theater. It was like a
okay. So you recorded with my band over there.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah, but it's gonna get out.
It's already out now.
Yeah.
So now, Ali Sadiq is producing, you know, the big one.
Okay.
And I still haven't named it yet, but I'm working on that. I started a business, which is like meal planning, teaching people how to eat.
Right.
You know, helping people, you know, with any and all maladies, you know, like if you just want to lose weight, or like, you know, you got high blood pressure. Like, I can show you why you got the shit from what you've been eating, show you what to eat to keep you from having, and show you, you know, about different herbs you consume that'll just lower that stuff and just make you feel just all around good.
That's very true, and I can attest that he's absolutely right, that it works.
Yeah, so that, and then just expounding on that, coming out with a cookbook. Thinking about doing some shit with like cartoons, like in a funny cartoon that's teaching kids about, you know, food. You know, so a bunch of stuff like that, man. And then, you know, just keep getting bigger in comedy and doing, because I still want to do my PhD thing, but now I know I don't have to literally go get the PhD. But I want to produce like several masterpieces, scholastic masterpieces in terms of history works. So that's one of the things I'm focused on. So by 40, that should be out. This touring and constantly just getting bigger. I want to do more speaking in terms of, health and stuff like that, mixing in with history and stuff. So, and I'm also, last thing is I'm working on a show, and I know you ain't supposed to say this shit, but I don't really give a fuck. But it's called The Traveling Black Vegan, and the concept is like if you ever seen the Travel Channel with Anthony Bourdain, and,
right?
What's his name? Andrew Zimmerman. They always go around the world eating food and just talking to the native people, and that's my show. But I'm black, I'm a vegan, I'm a historian. So if we in Cuba, I can talk to you about why this part of Cuba looks like this, or where these Africans come from, or show you the African religion. And speak from an African perspective. Also, since I'm looking for natural foods, you won't see me eating the same shit they eat. I'll be looking for herbs and shit that I read about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I go to a certain part of Mexico, gotta go get the damiana. You know what I mean? Like, where the damiana? Like, so this is shit I'm into. Right. Traveling.
It's like a treasure hunt.
Yeah, traveling, eating food, talking about and introducing people to people that don't know each other.
Wow. That's dope. Hey, the man is a scholar. He's a gentleman. He is Willie Lynch Jr. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming down.
Peace, people.
Y'all.